Hi, Stuart. Well, bold.
You.
Listen, we know from your column, etc., that you were keen to have played a bigger part in those first three matches. Does what's happened today sort of match words with deeds and prove that you could have maybe made a difference?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I always had in my mind coming to Australia on this tour that I might play 2 or 3 test matches, probably not 5. So I'd readied myself mentally to not have an impact in all 5 test matches, obviously. But I can't say that I wasn't disappointed not to play at Brisbane and Melbourne on 2 pitches that I felt like would have suited my bowling. But that's top flight sport, isn't it? You know, it's not just cricket, it's football, rugby, everything. Decisions have to be made, and I wasn't chosen to play on those pitches, but I had to get myself in a physical and mental, good mental place to get ready for any opportunity that arises. And Robert had a sore shoulder. I got the nod this week. I actually felt like I bowled really well in the nets 2 days out, and although I've not played much cricket in the past year, I actually felt in a pretty good rhythm straight away in this game. So pleased to have had an impact. Obviously, would have preferred it to be 5 for 30, not 5 for 100. There's no doubting it was Australia's day. Khawaja played beautifully, actually. But yeah, I think when you miss out in test matches, when you don't play a huge amount over a past year, it actually makes you realise how special it is to play. Makes you realise how I haven't been a regular this year. You know, when I was 26, 27, 28, I was sort of expected to play every game. I haven't done that this year. So when you miss a few and then you play, you realise how awesome it is to play, how special it is. And I really enjoyed my time out there. I think we could have bowled Australia out for a bit less, although we know the average here in the last 6 years is 457. So, we're not devastated with them getting 400. Mark Wood could have easily have got 3 or 4 more wickets. Thought he bowled fantastically well. But we showed heart and we showed character, which is what you need in Test cricket. I think all the seamers charged in when Stokesy went down, and we can hold our heads high with the attitude and application we showed, because that wasn't easy out there, actually.
Thanks. Yeah, you've answered a bunch of my questions there. But in terms of facing Australia and that Ashes environment, you know, I think 8 of your 19 fifers now are actually against Australia. Do you feel like when the heat is on in this contest that everyone places so much value on, that's when you really back yourself to start?
Yeah, I feel like over the years of my career that I've enjoyed pressure moments. I've never sort of shied away from those. So we know with Ashes cricket, we see how much it means to players when they get hundreds. We see how much it means to players when they can take sort of positive wickets in a test match. There's no better feeling to do it in Ashes cricket. Whether that's my upbringing with my old man having had an impact in Australia in Ashes cricket, I don't know, but it means the world to me. So I enjoy playing against Australia. I always find them a really tough battle, and that's what I play sport. I play the sport for the competitive side of it. I love that competitive side of it. I love trying to get the opening batters out and working your way through that. And I think that's why I keep sort of chugging in, keep coming for more, because it's quite addictive, that competitive side of the sport, and I certainly felt that today.
Thank you, Stuart.
Okay, let's go George the Bell, then John Etheridge.
G'day, Stuart. Well bowled. A couple, if I may, and you've sort of answered one of them a little bit there, but presumably, I mean, you don't have to keep doing this. You know, you're 35 and you've got months in hotel rooms and you've spent several games running the drinks on for other people. Why? What is it about it that keeps you going?
Yeah, good question. You know, there's no doubt I found the COVID times the hardest out of all my career. It's just a different way of touring in this modern era. Actually, it's quite a nice 5 for ball I've got, because it's the only 5 for ball. I got hit for 6 with the last ball I bowled with it. It then had to get sanitized because it went into the crowd. So I got this soaking wet ball back for a 5-for. So that'll be a nice one to keep. You know, the hand sanitizer SCG 5 for ball, but sort of shows the modern times we're living in. I've still got a burning desire to play the sport. I must admit, a few years ago, I was umming and ahhing, and I spent a lot of time talking to my dad about it, and he had a great belief that you should play the sport you love for as long as you can. His famous saying is, "You're a long time retired," but while the fire burns, you should play, because nothing replicates it in life. Nothing can bring you the satisfaction, the pain, the highs and the lows, and like I sort of mentioned there, they are quite addictive. And Jimmy's been an inspiration for me. I see how much drive he's still got at 39, how much energy he puts into not just the match days, but the training and the skill development. And I think that I've been obviously disappointed on this tour because I've not been able to have a real positive impact on it, particularly in the big games when the Ashes are still alive and kicking. And as a senior player, as an experienced player, they're the games that you want to stand up in and play and show why you've played for so long. So I think that is a disappointment that I do hold, but definitely running in today with bowling in that sort of that attack with Jimmy, with Woody, Leachy holding an end up. It's what Test cricket's about. You keep coming back when it's tough. You get little breakthroughs. You can try and change the momentum of games. You're bowling at the best batters in the world. You have a chance of getting them out. It's very special, and not playing for a period of time. 2021 was my worst year for sure. Both with the intermittent cricket that it was sort of play one, miss one type experience for me. But bowling today made me again relight that fire. This is awesome. Great stadium, good atmosphere, bowling at the world's best. It's what it's about.
Just one more, if I may, and you give great media, by the way, so thank you for that. We've seen you disappointed when you've been left out before. And this series, you've admitted to being disappointed, but we saw you kind of pissed off, I think, at Southampton in Barbados, and it wasn't like that this time. So is that because it was done differently?
Do you know what that was? It was, I felt like Southampton, that I'd bowled really well in the Ashes series in 19. I'd bowled really well in South Africa, being the leading wicket taker. And then I didn't play the next game. So I felt like the shirt belonged to me. And I think that's what frustrated me in that particular instance. And that did fuel quite a bit of fire in me. I think if I'd have had mentally at that stage, like, I don't really care, I've missed out, then I'd have probably made a slightly different decision. But I actually did feel really annoyed at that, and it really grew a lot of desire in me. And I think with how this year's gone, when I arrived in Australia, the shirt wasn't mine. I got injured in the India series, and the bowlers bowled really, really nicely, although we didn't get the results we wanted in the series. I arrived in Australia knowing the shirt didn't belong to me, and I can't have my grievances. I can't express my grievances in 2020 because I felt like the shirt belonged to me, and then have the same disappointment when it didn't. I said that to Rooty and Spoons at the Gabba. Obviously I'm disappointed because the pitch had me licking my lips, but the shirt wasn't mine, and I can't change that. That was guys delivering well when I wasn't around, and I respect that about the decision making. And no test caps should be given out. You always have to earn them, and I feel like I've put work in this trip to have earned today. So when Rooty told me I was playing because Robbo was injured, obviously I was gutted for Robbo because he's had a really good trip. But I was excited to play. I was I don't want this to sound wrong, but I was buzzing to play. I was really, really pleased to get an opportunity. And I prefer it to be 5 for 30 and really stamp a bit of authority on the game. But there might be time to do that still.
Brilliant, thank you.
Cheers, George. Let's go with three more. So John Etheridge, Malcolm Conn, and then we'll finish with Chris Stocks.
Stuart, hi. You pretty much answers the question I was going to ask. But just to clarify, you are available for the West Indies and you want to play for England again this coming summer?
Yeah, absolutely. I still feel really, really hungry to perform, and I do. Jimmy and I talk a lot. We do talk, and he does inspire me the way he's so focused on delivering. But he's really disappointed with how 2021 went, because his deliverance didn't bring the results that we as a team wanted. And there's loads of reasons why it wasn't as successful year as we want. And there's reasons, not excuses, but COVID has played quite a big part in it. And you know, it's a mindset now that I think within this group, instead of looking ahead at what's coming next year, what's coming in the winter, what's coming in the next Ashes series, actually, can we get back to the real basics of what's ahead of us right now? How are we winning this next test match? Because sometimes when your brain leads you too far away from what's in front of you, you're not focused on delivering what you need to deliver in that test match. So for us as a group, I'd sort of urge us as players to, you know, we don't know what the world's going to look like. We don't know what cricket's going to look like in June and in next November. But can we win tomorrow? Can we win the next opportunity that's in front of us? And I think that should be a real focus for the England cricket team going forward, because it's all well and good planning for Ashes and planning for the next away Ashes and looking at the World Test Championship. But actually, if you don't win the battle in front of you, it's all irrelevant. So, you know, we're disappointed to have lost this Ashes series 3-0, obviously devastated by it. But can we have an impact in Sydney? Can we have an impact in Hobart? And then we board a flight home and reassess. But a bit of a short-term mindset, in my opinion, for the next couple of games, because there's some points to prove for every player.
Cheers, John. Let's go to Malcolm, and then we'll finish with Chris.
Okay, Stuart, I just wondered, given that the way that you're bowled in this test and the way that Jimmy's bowled and Mark Henderson's bowled, do you ever look back on the first day of the tour when it was 0-0 and all things were equal and think what could have been?
You know, I've not hidden the fact I was really keen to play at the Gabba. I think that probably the Gabba is one of my favourite places to bowl outside of Trent Bridge and the Wanderers as grounds that I think suit me. But, you know, the call didn't go my way. But I thought the bowling group at the Gabba bowled brilliantly. I thought we stuck at our task really well. I think I said in an interview 8 months ago or something that coming to Australia runs are everything. First innings runs are everything. And what have we got? 140 odd, 230 odd, and can't remember Melbourne, but that wasn't loads either, was it? So, you know, that you can dissect loads on this trip, but actually first innings runs is where you live in Test cricket, and we've failed to deliver that. And we've got an opportunity tomorrow. You know, that this pitch there's a little bit of uneven bounce with the brand new ball, but I think Khawaja played beautifully today. There's an opportunity. I hope someone sat here tomorrow having scored a big 100 and answering some positive questions, because that has to be our aim. But yeah, what might have been, I don't, honestly, doesn't matter what bowlers you play if you're getting bowled out for 140. Might be a bit brutal, but that's the truth in Test cricket.
No worries, thanks.
Cheers, Mal. Let's go. Chris Stocks, last one. Go ahead.
Hi, Stuart. I know you mentioned to John there that you've got kind of a short-term kind of outlook at the moment, but I just wondered, you mentioned your passion for Ashes cricket. How much do you hope you can still have another crack at the Aussies at home in 2023? Is that a realistic proposition?
Realistic, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I look at, so I mentioned Jimmy a few times. He's 39, 40 in the summer, and he's truly probably the most professional I've seen him in the past 2 years. He's been phenomenal in his approach, and that set a sort of a guideline of how to approach it at that age. And I think I saw a stat somewhere. Jimmy's record since he turned 35, averaging 21 or something. Why can't I replicate it? I'm not as skillful as Jimmy, and I haven't got as much armour in my locker as he has with the skills he delivers with the ball. But I feel like I've got the motivation and the drive. Similar to him, I'm as disciplined as he is, and I feel like I can contribute as much as Jimmy has since that age. He's suffered a few injuries in that period of time, but being a red ball specialist, you do get gaps here and there to be able to get those injuries right. So yeah, he's a driving force behind my mindset, and you know, he's great to be around. And hopefully I get to play more Test cricket with him, because we had a lot of fun out there today with Woody, and it has been a pleasure over the 151 tests, however many I've played with Jim, and it will continue to be.
And can I just ask you just quickly before we go, wonder how Ben Stokes is? He went off obviously with that side issue. Is he okay? How's he doing?
He's one of the toughest blokes I've ever met, toughest cricketer I've ever met. So for him to go off and not bowl, he's obviously sore, but he's icing it at the moment. Obviously, we've got no sort of information on what's happened in his side, but 12 hours, hopefully we give him a lot of rest tomorrow. 24 hours in cricket's quite a long time. It gives the body quite a lot of time to heal. So, we'll wait and see. But he stayed on the field so he could bat in his usual position. So, he's a tough character. If he'll be out there if it's not torn to shreds. We as England fans and his teammate hope that it's not as bad as him not bowling again this trip.
Thanks.
Brilliant. Thanks, Stuart. Great press conference. We'll give you an update in the morning on Ben Stokes. I'll put it on the WhatsApp groups. But thanks very much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stuart.